Hello, welcome to the Nollywood Film Club podcast. I am Mr. C. Um, can't wait to for you to listen to this one. This one, oh boy, this one has highlights from a specific fan base. Can't wait for you to hear it. Anyway, the good will start shortly after this intro. The bad will start at 48 minutes and 45 seconds. Um, and the summary is at 2 hours and 25 minutes and 35 seconds. All right. This was a really fun conversation. I hope you enjoy it. Um, Shout out to the stands that came on to celebrate their person. But all that being said, please enjoy Nollywood Film Club discussing The Blood Covenant. So today, the film for discussion is The Blood Covenant. We're going to be talking about Yes, it's called the. You think I'm wasting my one syllable every single time? I thought you were, yeah. No. Apologies. The Blood Covenant. We're going to be talking about the good things, the things that we thought went really well. We're going to talk about the bad things or the things we didn't like, and then we're going to do a quick summary of what we thought about the movie in general. Okay, so let's start with you, Vanessa.
Wait,
what?
You need to share the data link.
I'll do that. Yeah. Yes. Let's start with Vanessa. Vanessa, go ahead. Tell us.
You're good.
The stuff you liked. Good.
Okay, so I don't have a list today, so I'm gonna ramble a lot. I've watched this movie twice now. And the first time around, I didn't feel a ways about it. It was just all right. The second time I watched it, I actually liked it a lot more. So one of the main goods for me is the opening scene. I think this is the second Nollywood film where the opening scene did something. You know, the first was Living in Bondage. The remake, what's it called? The sequel, Breaking Free. And this one. And it wasn't like it was such a powerful opening scene, but what it did was set up the relationship with the main characters that we see throughout the rest of the film. It's a silly thing, but it also felt like a callback to old Nollywood. I feel like we've seen that happen before in an old Nollywood film. And probably in schools, I've seen people talk about doing those silly things. And like, we've always heard stories about people bonding themselves by either pricking themselves with a protractor or slicing themselves with a razor blade and mashing blood together. So it just felt right for the film. So I really liked the opening scene. A good is the four guys who they did choose to play the adult version of these four guys. I really liked Alex Ekubo in this, for however short he appeared on screen. Uzor Arukwe is always a standout. Uzor Arukwe is consistent. He's sort of like Deyemi in that regard. When Uzor Arukwe is on screen, you know you're getting a good performance. Same with this is the love of my life, and I'm blanking on his name.
Tobi.
No. Who?
And then Shawn Faqua.
Shawn Faqua. Yeah. Same with Shawn Faqua. Shawn Faqua also consistently gives good performances, and I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I want to see him in a lead role. But the surprise here, even though I hate the fact that at this point, it should stop being a surprise to us, right? That Tobi Bakare can act. I don't know. I think it's that thing that comes with coming from Big Brother. Very rarely do people just, hey God, I've started. Hey God, no, I caught myself. But it's a thing in Nollywood, and I mean to a large extent, I understand why people feel the way that they do about alums from reality TV shows sort of making it into our film industry and getting roles that objectively it may appear that they have not earned. But what Tobi Bakare has done with the roles that he has been given repeatedly is shown that he can actually act and he can actually hold the stage. It was good. It was good to see him in this because Tobi Bakare has range apparently, and he showed it to us. And I actually really enjoyed his performance in this. What else did I really like? I liked the premise of this. The idea of a jazz covenant being transferable, like a bank account. But I actually really liked the idea of it being transferable. The Baba that played the Baba, I know his name, but it's skipping my mind. He's a Yoru Nolly mainstay, and that's something I also really love. I know we talked about it with King of Thieves, even though we haven't reviewed Kings of Thieves because we haven't watched it. But I think I mentioned it to someone. I can't remember who I mentioned it to about how Yoru Nolly deserves its place in mainstream and cinematic Nollywood. And even if it's just with little sprinklings of Yoru Nolly actors and actresses, if that's how they want to broach this, immersion of Yoru Nolly, then I love to see it because it just made sense. He gave such a really good performance. I actually really enjoyed his performance. Sometimes it was hilarious, but other times I was like, yes, I'm buying it and I like it. What else was it good for me? This babe, the police officer.
Former
McDermott, yeah. I don't know. I sort of liked her performance as well. I feel like I've seen her do something like that. I don't know if it's not something like that, but just sort of what she was giving felt very similar to the same performance she gave in the second what's the movie with Ramsey Nouah and Chiemeka and the rest that in their mind they were doing Robin Hood.
That comment.
Merryman, thank you. That's what it is.
Chiemeka does like his heist movie. Okay.
Yeah. So Ofama McDermott's character in this, I don't know, the performance that she gave felt very similar to the one she gave in Merryman, but this one just felt a lot more grounded because there was a lot more motivation for this than the one in Merryman. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. This babe that plays Tobi Bakare's love interest. Why is everybody's name coming out of my head today? Omowunmi Dada. Thank you. God, I'm done. Today is not a good day. My brain is not working. But Omowunmi Dada is also another consistent face in Nollywood. Yeah. She's a really good actress. People should put her in more things and in more lead roles, which is also sort of one of my bads, but I'm not gonna go there yet with this film. What else did I really like? Ooh. I liked. Okay. I'm not a fan of gory scenes. Which is one of the reasons why I avoid horror and even sci-fi films and like alien-based films. Like I won't lie to people. Today I've not watched Us. I've not watched.
Wow.
I don't see. I do appreciate myself. And I know what I can watch and what I cannot watch. So I don't even broach it. Not even a scene. Literally when Kiki Palmer was the Kiki Palmer thing that's trending and everyone's like, have you not watched X-Files? I'm like, I have not watched it, and you won't pay me £100,000 to watch it. It's not possible.
Elizabeth.
It's not possible. So even though I don't particularly care for gory scenes, I actually thought these were done relatively okay. Scene, that's another. The scene where they were killing Advantage, when the Baba slides Advantage. I actually, was it a perfect scene? No, but I really love that scene. The shock in Tobi Bakare's eyes. Again, this is another. I love Tobi Bakare's performance, but the way he was still when that man brought Advantage's blood to on his forehead. I was like, hold on. I actually really like this. Because it was almost like he looked like a statue in that scene, and I really liked that scene. The execution of that moment I really enjoyed. There are quite a few things I liked. What else did I like? I think that's pretty much it. If I remember something else, I'll say something else. But I think I liked a lot of things about it. And this is all based on the second watch, not necessarily the first watch.
Okay. No. Thanks for that. By the way, I also watched it twice, and it seems like I had a similar experience to you. The second time I watched it, it might be worth mentioning. I watched it with a crowd, with an audience, which I think helped.
We're full.
Four is audience. Crowd of 4, yes. Okay, all right. By the way, guys, if you're just coming, this is Nollywood Film Club. We're talking about the Blood Convert today. If you want to ask questions, share your comments, just use the hashtag Nollywood Film Club. You can also rate this if you don't want to come on and speak. You can rate it on Nolly Data using the pinned tweet above. Next, we're going to Elizabeth.
Okay, so what do I like? Actually, Vanessa echoed a couple of my thoughts. That scene with Advantage, guys, it was so real. It was like I really like that scene. In fact, I'd say that out of all the scenes in this movie, that scene was very good. One of the things that I really, really, really like about this movie, it has to do with the lights. I am not exactly a big fan of a lot of lights in the sense that I'm kind of like very traditional in my preferences when it comes to like cinema, especially with the dark skin. So I can be like very purist. So when I say a lot of like blue lights from during Insecure, I'm like, you know what? Let me just let me not mind this thing. But this is the first time in Nollywood that I would really see the lights and I would not mind. Like each time the boys get together to talk in that bar, I like the light composition, the blues, the greens. Now I'm talking about the actual light, not like the coloring of the shots. Just the light. And there were a couple of times then there was this silhouette, right? The first time they were going to look for that Baba's wherever, the shot of light where not the blue now, it was like the moonlight. So I was really impressed there in the sense that I didn't see the usual blue silhouette like that you see that is used to depict the moonlight, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was really nice. I like that scene, that shot especially. So there was like that like a white lighting and then it was like then they working so they were walking rather forward and then so there was like a silhouette. What other lighting thing did I notice? It's scattered around like that too, and I would say that I really like it. So I like how crisp the picture was. Yeah, so these are like the little things that I like that like stood out to me whilst watching this movie. What else did I like? Gosh, oh, Vanessa said half of the things. Yeah, the acting. Tobi is someone that I would say that he has learned on the job, and I'm a big proponent of. Well, I'm not a big proponent of learning on the job, but I am a big proponent of seeing you improve on the job because half of the time it just seems like, giving somebody a role because of popularity. But then with Tobi Bakare, you can see that there is an improvement from like whatever movie you saw him last in, right? So that on like he used to have like this unsure aura when he's acting. It's almost as if he doesn't want to push himself, like maybe he's doubt. So it's almost as if he doesn't want to give everything. But here you can see that he has shed some of those restrictions. And then who else? Now Shawn Faqua, Uzor. I think the synergy between the guys, them bouncing off each other, even when they're like really pissed at each other, it felt so real, felt so not just real, was natural enough to carry the scenes, right? There were times that sometimes you probably feel like some of the responses were kind of disjointed, especially maybe when you feel like the reaction should be more powerful and less performance. But that's another stuff for another day. But really, I like the acting, I like the colors, and I like some shots. That's it for me. Thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah, I think I'll just echo this Toby praise that is going about. Well, I've been a fan of Toby since I saw him on screen, and I saw him, I think, as late as the earliest I saw him was Sugar Rush, and that was my first. Oh my God, that was my first time where I thought, oh, this is a very good performance from. Can you guys hear me? Just
Okay.
all right. Okay.
I can
Yeah.
hear you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. And that was the first time that I thought, yes, this guy is really good at what he does. Like I actually knew him because of how not online I used to be anyway. I knew him first as an actor before I knew him as a Big Brother person. But I've always thought he was good. I was really looking forward to him and Rattlesnake when we first heard about the cast. I had Staninze, Bucci Franklin. I wasn't even that familiar with. It was focused from Popcorn and Reels that pointed me towards him. But I was like, oh, Tobi and Staninze in this film. This is gonna be dope. And then Tobi got given a very weird, weak part. But Tobi has been somebody I've been a fan of for a while, and I'm not surprised to see him put out quite a mature performance. That's what I'd say that was. Okay, Cynthia, tell us some of the things you liked and enjoyed from.
Okay. Yeah, so I watched the movie twice, like everyone, and it's the second time I really enjoyed the movie. So the first thing I liked was a soundtrack that I noticed the second time. So when there were kids and the guys did Brother for Life, the four boys after they pricked their hand, they played a particular soundtrack. And when they were adults, this time Uzor, Tobi and Shawn Faqua, and they were in the bar talking. And when they also did that hand gesture, they also played that soundtrack, and I was like, okay, this makes sense. I also felt they paid attention to details, especially I actually like how Tobi Bakare Eddie's car moved at the beginning. I also like how he had his girlfriend passports in his wallet, and I think most of them they had their pictures in their offices and their homes. Then yeah, I felt they had good camera shots. Like the picture quality was beautiful. And as usual, Fiyin always have these action shoots. So the motorbike scene was also good to me. Motorbike scene was also good. Then in acting, generally I think they were good. But for outstanding characters or the characters I noticed, first of all, Tobi Bakare. Okay, so I felt like yeah, his acting was good, and another thing was I felt his casting was perfect because from when I know him or when I knew him, I always look at him as this guy that gets into trouble, even though he doesn't plan to get into trouble. So I felt the casting was perfect and it did the role well. Then I also liked Rufus, especially the way my money and everything. And the first time I watched the movie, I was just with my friend. I was like, I don't know this guy that played Rufus. And then I went to his IG and realized he's always playing this Igbo shiftancy title stuff. But his role in this Blood Covenant as Rufus was really good. Then Advantage to Chimezie Imo, like this is also the first time I'm seeing him on screen. I don't watch a lot of Nollywood, and it was also good. Then Uzor Arukwe. So I know Vanessa said it's always good, but for the past 3 weeks, he has always been in my bad. He has always been in my bad because of his Igbo accent. But for this movie, I actually liked it. Like I didn't get the fake Igbo thing, and yeah, and it was beautiful to watch him. Okay, and Shawn Faqua, yes, I liked Shawn Faqua, although Oceano, although sometimes I felt like his neck thing was becoming too much. That hope he doesn't break his neck, but I actually do like his performance. And then I also like the casting in general. I mean, they took should I say a risk of casting young Nollywood, because I didn't see like the veterans and everything. But yeah, and yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, thanks, thanks, Cynthia. Another person who's watched this twice and really enjoyed the
I feel
second.
like I need a rewatch. I'm gonna have a great time.
Second, this is that's something that's actually it's not very common in
Yeah.
Nollywood, because you tend to get almost everything from a first watch in Nollywood. So that's kudos to this movie. All right, Ayinka, are you there for your what you liked about this film? Ayinka, are you there? All right. Ayinka, do you want? Oh,
I am here. Sorry. This thing.
Do we have lag? Is there lag?
I'm using I'm not using my phone. I'm using an Amazon Kindle, and it's cheaply made.
Bougie, go on, give us.
Amazon Kindle. I bought the cheapest one. It's like well,
Right.
cheap to me. Cheap is relative. So what did I like about this movie? Well, I like the fact that it's kind of telling an African like horror slash story, and I like everybody has already talked about the actors, so I'm going to talk about like maybe the story, right? I like the idea of the story. I like how the story what's it called? The plot line of the story, right? It's a wonderful story. Like that's one of the things I think that horror sometimes, I don't even know whether it categorizes it as completely horror, but it is part of kind of doing a partly horror genre thing. And I like the fact that sometimes horror, especially lately, horror has just been like, let's not put a plot line into it. Let's just make it scary. Let's just make it scary. And many people are doing horror because horror is cheaper to make, but it makes a lot of money. You just need like $1 or $2 million to make horror. But like, so I like the fact that this actually has like a plot line, actually has emotional stakes that you can connect with as a human being, not just some random person coming to start killing people, you know? So I like that. And I thought that was a very good thing. I like some of the shots. I like the fact that you can see that this was actually planned out in so many ways. So because recently in some movies we've not been getting like, it doesn't seem like shots were planned out, you know. But so I like that part of the production. Those are the things I really do like about the story. And it's also like one of the things I also like about this is that it's doing an African horror, and it's not necessarily doing random, ridiculous, occult aesthetics that are more Western occult aesthetics, right? I like Living in Bondage, the new one. It's good, but it's horror, and it's like it's rituals scenes are Western occultish inspired occult, Western occult instead of more of an African occult, and it seems that aesthetic seems out of place. But hey, who knows? This is the 21st century. The world is smaller, so that aesthetic seems out of place. This seems more of like a nod to old Hollywood and to old Nollywood, to old Nollywood, right? And those are the things I like about this movie. I like it has a script. Yeah, I like it. It's trying to talk about many things. The story is obviously talking about. It has some class something in it, but it's not really that class critic. It talks about the money and the things that can actually push people to it. I think it does that very well. And I think that's one of the things I absolutely like about it. I think it's one of the strong suits is that it's the plot line. It's characters that you can recognize and like think and understand why they did the things that they did. That's what I think is good about this.
All right. Thank you, Yika. I'm just going to go to the hashtag again. If you don't want to come up and speak, feel free to tweet a comment using the hashtag Nollywood Film Club. Rookie says Blood Covenant is one of my favorite movies this year. And a lot of people are following the sentiment. We have to say we watched it with a couple of our neighbors, and one of them also said this is my favorite Nollywood film
this year.
I've seen in a long time. Which that's saying something, isn't it? Okay, all right. So we'll go Kwame next.
Okay. So first thing first, I have to say I like how direct the storyline was. The storyline was just like direct. There was no plot break or anything. From the beginning, we knew where the story was headed, and that was where it ended. I enjoyed everything from the casting. About the Tobi Bakare hype, I really don't see it, guys. But it's a very good actor, but I don't see it. And I liked the fact that what's this Bibi Najak? Yeah, Erica. She played a different role from what she usually plays. The meek girl. Now she's playing the boss lady. It was actually nice, play something different. And I also like the idea of wealth from the movie. It was very relative. It was not exaggerated. They had money, fun, everything, and it was just very relative. Yeah, that's the things I liked about the film.
Thanks, Kwame. Those are things that some may have missed. But yeah, Anya, tell us some of the things you enjoyed about the Blood Covenant.
Hello everyone. Happy Sunday. So I'm gonna echo the thing about Tobi Bakare. I know this is just gonna sound like noise now, but I was pleasantly surprised. I watched Sugar Rush, and I don't think I knew it was him, because I think I would never believe that it would be Tobi Bakare. I definitely fall into that group of people who would not expect somebody from Big Brother to deliver. So I honestly look forward to seeing him again in a lead role. As I'll join Vanessa's campaign was seeing him in a lead role. Or was that your campaign? Yeah. So I think there were strong performances where it mattered. The main three characters, like Shawn Faqua's character, Tobi Bakare, and what's his name, Uzor Arukwe, right? I think those were the strongest performances, and I think that was where I think you needed the performances to be strongest. And with regard to that, I felt like the dialogue between the leads felt natural. And the use of pidgin was just very I rarely ever, with a lot of new Nollywood movies these days, the pidgin feels very forced, and I don't know, it feels like you need to speak pidgin just because you're trying to prove a point. But the pidgin actually felt like it was nice to listen to. It felt authentic. Um, and then there were some nice, funny moments that I actually found myself rewinding. So when one was when they went to the reunion, and then Sean Oceano was pointing out the guy who shot himself at assembly. Just small things that just make a scene feel more real, and make it feel like they actually lived in those past moments that they're recalling. And then there's the face sponge scene, and this was actually something I only caught when I watched it the second time. I don't know why, but where Tobi Bakare is like, "Wait, how long have you been using my face sponge to wash your ass?" And then the part at the reunion where Tobi Bakare was dressed like a waiter, and they kind of like showed the waiter come up so that yeah, there were so many fun. And then Tobi Bakare's Big Brother reference at some point. Those are like small moments I think that made their friendship more real for me. Then, in terms of the first act, I think the first act for me was the best part of the movie. And I don't know if other people disagree, but this is just my opinion. I think it did a good job of introducing the characters' personalities, their lifestyles, their careers, how they were different, and despite that, how their situations were similar. So we get to understand their motivations and how they interact with people in their lives. We jump into their worlds. It shows sort of the different things that they're dealing with. And I also like the little nod to Jite and Adugo's relationship from the very first scene. I guess that was Adugo, I'm not sure. And then something Mr. C mentioned last week that I also noticed and appreciated was the use of the divider to produce blood in the very first scene. So the first act was efficient in getting me invested in their characters, understanding sort of like how did these people get into this quote unquote Stonewall Academy, and getting some understanding of sort of why they actually need to prove themselves. Um, and then the storyline with Advantage, that was actually one of um, the only scenes in the shrine that I felt moved by. Um, I think that scene managed to convey some level of emotional conflict and show you sort of where every character was in the story, where Oceano was versus, is it Kenny? What was Toby Bakary's character's name? And
Yeah,
then huh?
Kenny or Eddie?
Eddie.
Eddie, sorry, Eddie. Kenny is his wife, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Eddie and then GT, we sort of put a stamp in where they are versus where they were in the beginning. Um, and also again, loved Toby Bakary's performance there. And then also, yeah, I think I mentioned this before, but the world building of Toby and Shawn Faqua around Toby and Shawn Faqua's characters, like very I think that was where the attention to detail in this movie really sat, because the housing, the leaking roof, the beat down car that Toby was driving, his cheap tie, that kind of very very cheap cotton shirt that you'd expect from someone who's not like making a lot of money right now but has to dress professionally. Yeah, I really liked those small details there. So those are the things I liked about the movie.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anya. Very, very detailed as always. Shout out to Fiyin for like those details. I remember. Yes, I remember the reason why I brought up the compass last week was because I felt like these are things that you can be generic about. They could have given them like a needle or whatever, but hey, you could why not have it add to the character, have it to the characters that you're seeing on screen. Yeah. But yes, good shout out. All right, Mel. Oh, let me see. There's actually a tweet someone did using Nollywood Film Club. Wakamisi says Erica's fans are here. Laughing emojis. You're welcome, Erica's fans. The way you guys stand up for your people, I think it should be studied. That's what I'm going to say about it. Please don't bite us. Also, Oritsemi,
what are you, white?
Sorry.
Question: who is Erica?
Please, no.
All right, we can't start.
We can't start.
Not yet. Not yet. Go on. So somebody, sorry, I can't pronounce your name. I don't want to butcher it.
I'm gonna go with Ominomi because that's the username.
All right.
Really watched the Blood Covenant twice. Oh my God, so many people. I'm still in awe of Shawn Faqua's acting, and the banter between the boys brilliant. I will agree. I enjoyed the banter between the boys and Shawn Faqua's. Yeah.
Yes.
I need to do my second watch because
Everybody, yeah, a lot of people watching this twice. This is yes. Thank you guys for sharing that. Also, Mel, are you here now?
Was that me?
It's your turn. Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. Okay. I don't have a lot to add to what everyone else has said. I wanted to say that one of the things that I really, really, really enjoyed and appreciated as well about the movie was that also hi everyone was that it has such a clear message. It has such a clear, such a strong message. And I think that, yeah, I just really appreciated that. I think that when we think about the conversations that were happening earlier in the year about the role that Nollywood has played with encouraging, promoting ritualistic killings for money, I think, I don't know, it felt like someone had listened, if that makes any sense. But anyway, the point of the film, like even outside of me agreeing with the message, even if I didn't agree with the message, the point of it is very clear and very strong, and I really, really, truly appreciated that about the movie. Exactly.
Thank you, Mel. I'd have to second that because you're right. Like this is a conversation that's been going on, and I would say also, given that Living Bondage is the sort of 800-pound gorilla of ritual movies, and the sequel came out like five years ago or so, right? Is it five? No, not 5, 7, like four, about 4 or 3 years ago, maybe. But it came out recently, and so people might have that in their hands, so they had to do something different, whilst also being careful about making portraying this as rituals as like the thing to do, and they really clearly had it in mind, because you don't see anybody who does this ritual thing that has a good end. Nobody. The first person we get introduced to it who is doing it is Alex Okubo, and he's off to very quickly. So yes, I completely agree. And one of the other things that like it does this without preaching it too loud. Anyway, I'm going into my goods. I don't want to take from Mrs. C. Mrs. C, go on. What good stuff did you like?
My people have said it all.
Yeah, I've said it all.
Not really, but most of it, yes. I really enjoyed the leads. Shawn Faqua, Tobi, Uzor, they were great, and they had good chemistry and good banter, and I could buy that these men knew each other and these men were friends. Chimezie Imo as Advantage. I like Chimezie Imo. I really like seeing him on my screen. And I liked him as Advantage. And Advantage is different from, so the places I remember Chimezie Imo from, Nimbe and About a Boy. And he's different in these 3 movies. Oh, also Kasala. And he's different in all these roles.
Wait, Chimezie is not.
Wasn't he in Kasala? He was not. Quiet guy.
I don't think so.
I'll check again.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was. Was the quiet one, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, he was different in all these roles, and like I like that I cared about Advantage, right? I cared about Advantage. Like he's this cheeky fella at the beginning that's cajoling him into buying stuff, and then he's like, "Oh, I want to be among," and he's saying, "I want to be among," and I'm yelling at Advantage like, "Get out! You don't want to be among." And he's driving, and I'm like, "They're gonna sacrifice Advantage. They're gonna kill Advantage. Like I felt like I cared about him, right? Anyway, then I had moments of tension. Right, so there was a point where I was standing and eating ice cream and watching it, and it was, what was that scene? It was that last bit where they were at the shrine and all of that stuff, and I really enjoyed feeling that while watching it. It had comedy. It had comedy that was intentional and was written, and I liked. There was something else I wanted to say. Shoot, there was something else I had that I liked. I can't remember.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, no problems.
Oh yeah, sorry, I remembered.
Of course.
Sorry, I liked the way the jazz worked in the film. So first off, I like that the film had like a proper plot from the beginning to the end. There was a path they were taking from A to B, and they didn't have unnecessary diversions here and there. It flowed and it worked. But I liked that there was a method to the jazz, right? It seems like there were rules to it, and they kind of followed the rules they had to the jazz, right? They have different levels that require different commitments from you. But I liked the way it worked because jazz is not new, right? Blood money is not new in Nollywood. So when you show it, you need to show, like, you give us something different. And it was nice to not have like a room in the house where there was a Ghana must go back just vomiting money. It was, there was a consistency to it. It seemed like it brought you good luck. And then when they wanted more from you, the good luck didn't just stop. You got a dose of bad luck. You get what I mean? It was like, it was consistent. It was like, you're into real estate, all right, your real estate is going to boom. You're into fraud, your fraud is going to boom. You're into this. So it's like, it's whatever you're currently doing that it enhances, which I liked. I liked that there was a principle to it. I found myself yelling at this guy going, why didn't you go legit before you got into jazz? So they won't be picking you up and arresting you, right? But yeah, so I liked that there was some method to that madness.
Okay. I guess worth picking back off that to say it's one of the things in there is going, hey, you don't think you would do this, but you actually will. And it's because it starts small, and then you start small, you do something as simple as it was just self-defense. And from just self-defense, it's just showering in public. I mean, like, because you get given all this good life, you get addicted to, well, the good life you're living. I thought it was because like one of the problems I had with Blood Sisters was that I don't think a normal functioning person can just chop off someone's head. I don't think. I think if you do that, you're gone. You probably have dead animals in your fridge or something. Like, something has led you down to a path where you think that's an okay thing to do. So I like that the way it is introduced into the film is great. One of the other things as well that was, I think this is something Prophetess didn't do well, is, it wanted to give you, maybe it is jazz, maybe it is lock, maybe, and they throw in, I guess there's something enough. I'm not sure it was needed, but like, they put it in there, and I get the message that maybe there's maybe it's actually not even the jazz, maybe it's like, there's an argument for that based on the way it was written and delivered. I think it's jazz, but I get somebody saying I think it's lock, and it's added there without making it too silly, like Prophetess, where she doesn't even say the prediction, and they carry the prediction in her head and they give up without rehashing that. But so I thought it does that part well. Here's a part that this is a weird thing to say. As a man, I can't believe this, because like, it's not often we get to say this, but it's kind of nice to have a story in Nollywood about a group of men. It's not something some of you people will understand here, and that's fine. Yeah, but this is it's like the only ones we get are films about rituals, which maybe we need to treat that. Maybe, and Yahoo Plus, public persona. Yahoo Plus is still anyway, but like we don't often. It's not often movies about men come along, so it's nice to actually see that, and it's good that it also, the chemistry. Living in Bondage didn't even have this. The chemistry is like, oh, this is how we talk. It's nice to recognize, like, have our representation on screen. Isn't that? So yeah, I enjoyed that. Some people have mentioned in different aspects, like things like the locations. I mean, like, this isn't a lot of, I think there's a few indoor things, but like it's clearly not just indoors. And like, we have sort of a a show house. We have obviously the shrine that's done outside, the morgue side, hotel room, of course, for preparation of this guys. Like it gave us like a nice diversity of locations that made it visually interesting, and it kept you from sort of nodding off, or like it keeps it interesting anyway, even if you don't nod off, because the story is actually quite strong on its own. And then the other thing, the last thing I wanted to say is that visually, both with the combination of the cameras and the editing, they know what they're doing. Like, it's competent. It's nice that too many times in Nollywood, and it's almost turning into sound now, where I feel like I should stop saying it, because I don't expect people to know when to use a wide shot and a closer shot and all of this. Like, it feels like somebody understood how to tell this story visually as well. When to use close up and when to use wide. Those were very nice to see. But yes, generally, again, like as a film, I enjoyed it on the second watch, and I think that was nice. All right, so Elizabeth, you have your hands up. Was there something you forgot to
Yeah,
add?
yeah, I actually forgot. I forgot to mention the music, even though this stood out to me from like the get-go. I really enjoyed the use of music, and I'm not just saying the soundtracks, right? I'm not saying just the normal OSTs. I really mean that the music, like at each point, I really enjoyed it. And what else? And I wanted to say, like, give props to like the other actors that had like minor roles. I know a couple of people have mentioned, but Alex Ekubo, it did not annoy me. I was very impressed. Demi Banwo was good. Almost every other person, Chimezie, almost every person, Omowunmi Dada, even though I felt like, yeah, I'll talk about that later. But every other, those minor roles, I really enjoyed. So it felt like everybody brought on their amount this set. Thank you.
All right, thanks. And remember, you can join the conversation on Twitter. You can tweet at Nollywood Film Club. Some of those tweets coming in. Tempest in the Teapot said, "I love the montage in the Blood Covenant. I love how the plot progressed. I love how the costume and the scenes established the characters. But Tobi Bakare was my favorite thing about the film." Lots of Tobi Bakare fans, and I think rightfully so. Omowunmi says, listening to Nollywood Film Club by Iroko critique The Blood Covenant by In Blood Productions. A lot of SEOs there. And all they're saying, what I liked with the film at this point, yes, we're talking about the good. We're about to wrap it up there. Full disclosure, I worked in the PR of the film. Oh, okay, very nice. But I genuinely love the film. Saw it thrice. Oh!
All right, you two-timers are slacking. Catch up.
You two-timers are really slacking. My favorite 2022 movie so far. So thanks, Omowunmi. So yeah, you can join the conversation as well, tweeting using the hashtag Nollywood Film Club. Also, if you want to review it or rate it, there's a link pinned to our bio at Nolly Data. You can review The Blood Covenant here. All right. So that being said, we are about to get into the bad. I don't know what I want to ask. Who wants to start off? You're raising your hand. You want to start?
I'm stretching.
Okay, sorry. All right. Okay. So we'll start. We'll start first with. Let's start with Onyi first. Onyi, what did you not like about the film?
I'm actually afraid it's good.
See, like you're new. Do you want somebody else to start first?
Yes,
Because,
please.
okay, all right. So let me not do that to.
Let Vanessa and Co tell you what it is.
All right. Elizabeth, do you want to start
Okay.
with? Yeah.
I don't mind starting first. So we have a storytelling problem. So there is a story in this movie, quite all right? I'm just not sure what the story is. I know you guys have been saying there is a story, so I'm like, okay. So I feel like this this movie intends to be a conversation starter, but it has done a poor job so far starting any form of conversation here. I mean, we're just all talking about money ritual movie, talking about living in bondage. But I don't even think the reference for this movie is living in bondage. I honestly feel like the reference for this movie is the figuring. In a place where you're juxtaposing the belief in the metaphysical as opposed to pure coincidence. That's why I feel like it's supposed to be this movie's conversation starter. And I will mention the reason why, because there was a scene where the police officer went on and told Eddie about how their successes was coincidental, and then Eddie seemed to have like, no, not Eddie, sorry. What's Tobi Bakare's character? Eddie Rabi.
I do. Yeah.
And then there was now like, you can see the light bulb go off in his hair, like he was putting two and two together. It's just unfortunate, like throughout the movie, he didn't put two and two together. So why did you shine your eyes? What happened right there? But anyways, I'm jumping the gun. So starting. A lot of where do I want to start from? Watching this movie, right? The first act had a story. I mean, trying to establish our motivations, right? And then the background, and then trying to speed up the process. But honestly, I felt like a lot of the scenes were contrived. It's either that or the editing was choppy, because it just felt like we were jumping from scene to scene. So I didn't see the fluidity at all. So for me, the last time I saw something like this was in the Superstar, where it just felt like a lot of episodic events happening one after the other. So it seemed like when you need to get the backstory out of the way, so it seemed like a carousel, right? Like just keep going, keep going, keep going. So that's how I felt like when I was watching it. And this movie made use of a lot of exposition to push the story forward. I don't know why. Hence breaking that rule of show don't tell. In fact, this movie used a lot of telling to move the story forward. And I think one is okay, two is a coincidence. Third is deliberate at this point. Like, why are we doing this movie? The scene where the police was telling us what happened to our sister. When we got there, I'm like, how did we get here? Because I really didn't get that. In fact, where should we start from? Because now I feel like I should start with the police character and how it just seemed like we saw her coming, established that the police has been hot on this guy's tails, this ritual, this Baba them people's tail, right? So it had established that. But but throughout the rest of the movie, it just seemed like I didn't know what her job was. Like, her job was to appear before Eddie and explain her plight. She wasn't trying to offer him a deal. She wasn't trying to offer him anything. It was just like, what are you people doing? Oh, okay, like this all happened to my sister. Then go away, then come back again. What are you people doing? Let me tell you how your success happened. Like all these coincidences, right? So it just felt like she comes in, says something. We feel like she just had to just explain her motivation to us, and they kept him moving. And then the same way the friends were telling us how they got their good fortune, they had to sit together, like they've been sitting together, like a scene from TMC, to discuss. Look at it, like now they've gone to the police office, they've got out, and now they're explaining to us how this has happened to me. It's really just you. This has happened to me. This has happened to me, and that was the first thing actually where the whole telling thing started. I felt like, okay, maybe they are pressed for time. But if you're pressed for time, if it's in the script, then doesn't mean you're pressed for time. Just it meant that it is deliberate. You put it into the script. You wanted to tell us. And then Osaino, when he was telling Eddie's character that the old man came to his office, I mean, the old man came, like, it happened to me today, the old man came to my office. And then when I've already like older, then when Ada was telling Eddie
that Baba gave her blood. Oh my God, I think that was the part that pissed me off. Because at this point, we had already reached our conflicts, right? We had already entered our third, because that was the conflict started from when, they used advantage and everybody, or rather, that was a breaking by never, like, oh, I'm never going to come back. Like, oh, and then you're telling us that the reason why they came back was because Baba called Eddie, and then one single person that was instrumental to this entire thing was Ada. And then they now had to do flashback. And I'm like, in that instant, I'm like, you are not a serious bunch of people. Because at this point, you had used more than 4 pivotal moments in this movie. You've discussed it with us in the audience. And now this is it with storytelling, right? Like, I mean, a lot of people probably don't care about these things. Probably a lot of people don't care about it. So yeah, yay to them. But it is one of my own icks when I'm watching movie. It pisses me off. Like, okay, I might have just tuned into Jimmy Sholanke story time, and then somebody will just tell me story, then be dramatizing it behind, and then we move forward. So that was how I felt about this entire using exposition to push the plot forward. I didn't like it. If it was 1, it was 2, I probably wouldn't mind. But it just seemed to be scattered, and then we needed that also to push the entire third act. To talk about the conflict. I really didn't know why that happened though. And then the police involvement, like I mentioned, like when she was trying to catch this man just showing up, and then there was I think when she was talking to her boss to set up the fraud unit, there was just something that didn't land. And again, maybe it's the fluidity of the storytelling. There was just something that I didn't know what was going on with that police character. It was extremely unnatural, it was contrived. And then that conflict, I think I've talked about it. I mean, that conflict, it just seemed like they needed something to descend into another level of chaos, right? Like, you needed us to descend to a level of chaos, and you just needed something, and Ada was just perfect to come and narrate the story. It's a different thing if you had shown that at some point, and I know that we were probably going for surprise. Maybe they were trying to surprise us in the sense that moment would be shocking. Like, oh my God, she knew. But then when she dived into that, oh, here is how I found out. At this point, I mean, I don't know. Thank you for filling us in, because we probably would not have known. And then, honestly, there was just a bit of those little things. And for me, I still feel like the conversation starter is that whole metaphysical thing, without pure coincidence thing. So at the end of the movie, I'm not convinced that a bunch of their covenants is the one that spiraled into this magical Baba finding them, and then things just happening. In fantasies, you probably if this movie was fantasy, right? We'll get it at least to an extent. There will be a plausible explanation for all of these things that we're talking about. Which brings me back to one of the references that I felt that I heard when I was, or rather that I saw. So that brings me to the figurine. Because I remember watching the figurine, and the idea was to make us, when you want to get your audience buy-in, right? I mean, sorry, I'm rambling now because I'm trying to work out my thoughts. So it at some point it feels like maybe I have to automatically believe in the metaphysical. If I have to believe in the metaphysical, I will have to have something to make me believe. At the end of the movie, I don't know what I felt. In this entire movie, there was one scene that really got me, that drew out the emotion for me, and that was when the off advantage. I was really, really sad. That scene was so powerful that I felt sad, in the sense that I felt sad for the rest of the movie, because that was the first emotion that this movie was drawing for me. And and then you can see the possibility of what can happen with this movie. Another thing that I didn't like, the dialogue was pedestrian at all times. when they're bantering, I love it. But then every other dialogue with another, with the police officer, with the wives, with anybody else, it just felt so pedestrian. There's nothing really inspiring about anything that they saying. It just seemed as though people were like, "Oh yeah, just rush through your school." Like I think it was that scene when Ada was talking to her husband about reporting him somebody. I'm like, thank God I've changed. As in, I think that particular place, I was like, I beg, because the dialogue was just like, "What is happening, man? What's happening, guys?" And honestly, after I watched this movie, I didn't feel any form of satisfaction. I was just okay. It was okay in the sense that I appreciate the production value. And I won't lie to you guys, like I really appreciated the colors, the music, the acting, the script, crisp pictures, the attention to details, the minute details for that matter. But nothing else did anything for me. Nothing else. Maybe the acting and then the camaraderie between the friends. But when you take that out, in the heart of this thing, I know you guys said there's a story. In the heart of it, me, I didn't see the story. I mean, I see the tension, the blood covenants. Like you can see the premise, right? The premise is clear. But when it gets to the storytelling, I'm like, so what exactly? I do not like. I've mentioned I've referenced it with another movie. I think referencing it again with another movie I saw recently, where it took place in maybe less than 12 hours from beginning to the end. I see that if there was no need for me to get lost anywhere. So maybe if then maybe it's the edits, maybe it's the choppy edits. I wouldn't know. But as far as watching, maybe if I'd watch it second time like a bunch of every other person, maybe maybe I'll get these things that you guys were getting. But I didn't get it. I didn't get it. Was okay. It was an okay watch. I just did not get any form of satisfaction from watching it. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. I think it's going to be an interesting conversation. I think most of us here from the GC, I think, like you acknowledge, are probably going to disagree with you with the plot. But I do want to say that worth mentioning. Some of the scenes that some of the way the conflict escalates, I think like it's really well done in the sense that when we meet the friends, when Alex Akubo's character brings his friends back, we are meeting him at his level stage where all three of them, so like that stage has already been foreshadowed. So like the escalation is done actually really well done, like literally showing without like, I know, like I think I get some of your points in terms of like sometimes they are discussing a lot. I would say sometimes what is happening a lot of the time is that actions are happening and then they sit down to process it through dialogue. And maybe those parts didn't work well for you, and maybe that's what you're saying. I would advise watching it a second time, because I enjoyed it more on my second time, just because I enjoyed it more on my second time, to be honest. Like the first time, I for whatever reason, I think it's worth addressing the edits, because I think I haven't noticed this also bothered me my second time. The edit is if it does, I don't know whether choppy is the word, but the pacing is a little too. They do a lot of J cuts for the scene transition. So when you're leaving one scene, you're starting another scene. But like during the drone shot, the dialogue already from the next scene already starts. And for something that is this ritual dark movie, you would want the scenes to breathe a little bit. And I didn't get that a lot. Like maybe you found this when you're discussing with the editing. Like a lot of times, because they're doing those J cuts, it felt like the movie was in a rush, and that obviously was an intentional. That was an intentional thing. So like, maybe they were trying something, but it didn't work for me because it just felt I just wanted sometimes like calm down. All right, some crazy thing just happened. I want to process this, and it's just like on to the next bit. And it's something that actually living in bondage does very well. In fact, like everybody remembers that opening scene. And one thing about that opening scene is that after that opening scene ends, it does like a title card. You process. Hey, did you remember that crazy thing we just showed you now? Like we process that whilst we show you the title cards. Now, obviously, you can't show a title card every time, but you can use an establishing shot to just calm down. Let people process what they just watched. But yes, anyway, but this is the beauty of Film Club. Feel free to join the conversation using the hashtag Nollywood Film Club, and we'll get to everybody eventually. All right, Vanessa, do you want to?
Sure. So I do recommend that to Mr. Joe go and watch it the second time. One of the things, I'm gonna be one of the people who says I didn't particularly, and it's not the scoring that I don't like, which I think is what Mrs. Joe was saying during her life, that she enjoyed the scoring.
Hang on. All right. Okay. Go on. I think
my internet has started messing me up.
Oh God. We'll send you to Nigeria to go and get MTN. Right. Try again.
Is this better? Am I better
yes,
now?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Good.
I didn't mind the scoring of this, which is, I think I agree with Miss Ojo on that part when she was talking about her likes, about how she liked the scoring. What I really didn't enjoy was the soundtrack, and particularly Running, Ladipo's Running. I love that song, Go. I just didn't understand why it was in this film. And I didn't understand a lot of the popular Afro-pop songs used in this film. I just felt like they were out of place. But that's a me thing. I agree. The pacing of this was really off. We started off with a really strong first act. You know, it did a really good job of introducing us to these boys and these men as they grew older. And then everything just sort of disintegrated. And it's in the pacing and in like the editing, and it just took away from everything. There were no moments to breathe. And I feel like even with books, it's important that you have a moment or two to breathe, right? Just to process everything that's going on. And this didn't give us a chance to do that. And so by the time it got to the end, to the third act, specifically the last scene, it just felt like it was, okay, let's wrap this up. Even though the last scene was a really strong scene, it just felt like rushed, like the rest of the movie was. And so it took away from the enjoyment. But by my second watch, I didn't particularly, it wasn't too obvious for me. I didn't really notice it, because the first time I noticed it a lot. But by the second watch, it wasn't too off for me. Something I don't particularly like, and I'm happy for you, Mr. C, that there's a all men film, a film about men. That's people's personal problem. I didn't like necessarily the treatment of the women in this film. It just felt like, granted, they were supporting acts, but it just felt like they were background. A lot of stuff was happening to them. They weren't doing a lot of stuff. The only woman who did anything in this, like who didn't have stuff happening to her, was Erica's character. And like, she did stuff to change stuff in her life, you know. She reached out to what's his face, the lone guy. She apparently
Can, can anybody hear Vanessa?
I can hear her.
Oh, I thought it was just me. because I was seeing laughing emojis. I was like, oh,
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
why you guys
Like, what am
gaslighting?
I missing?
Why you guys gaslighting me?
I was like, whenever I say something and I can't hear it because I'm seeing laughing emojis.
So like
Yeah.
All right,
no.
Vanessa, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, all
Hello,
right.
can you hear?
All
Can
right,
you
so
repeat
hear
the
me?
funny thing you said? Because I didn't hear.
well,
I don't even know what I said that was funny. I was seeing laughing emojis. I'm like, what's going on?
I love you at the women in this.
Okay, so what I was saying was a lot of the women in this film had stuff happening to them versus doing stuff. And the only person who did anything was Erica's character. She was the one who, like, especially like to change stuff that was going on in her life. You know, she was the one who spoke to the bank guy to extend the loan, even though apparently it was the jazz. But like, she did something. She noticed what was going on with her husband and trailed them to the Baba shrine. You know, she was the only one out of the rest of them. The rest of them it just felt like stuff was just happening to them. And granted, the film isn't about them. So, but it just, even with Omowunmi's character, it just felt like, you know, she was just there to be Eddie's support system in the beginning, then girlfriend, then wife, and things happened to her. Even this babe, what's his face? Who's Arukwe's assistant? Even her,
Uzor.
it don't know. I don't know. It just felt a little. It didn't rub me the right way. I don't know. But then again, the film is not about them. So it's a personal problem. It's a me thing versus like a problem with the film. But I just felt like it didn't feel like anything was specific. I felt like we could have done without them, and the movie, the story would have still continued. They didn't add or detract. Adugo was the only one who did anything with, you know, so maybe her, but the rest of them, it just felt a little off. What else didn't do it so much for me? I agree about like the story, even though we've said that there's a story and Misojo there is a story, but I think the problem was a lot in the execution. I also agree about it not being a conversation starter, because when Mel was talking about how there was a time when the conversation was being had about how Nollywood has influenced, and well, people were trying to put the responsibility on Nollywood as to ritualistic killings and cultism and the whole 9 yards. And it's like, here's a film that has a message. And maybe if it did what it was intended to do, and I guess in some ways it did, but I feel like this was one of the films that should have been in the center of conversation at that time, you know, and it just didn't do that. So yeah, that's me.
Okay. No, thanks, Vanessa. Interesting that there's people saying it's conversation starter. I don't know whether we do conversation starters in Nollywood, but sure, because I don't.
No, conversation starter. We watched. Remember when we watched this short, Dika's short?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then we had a conversation that
okay.
wasn't, you know.
No, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, when the point of the film is to provoke a conversation, like intentionally through the plots, the way the film is told, that kind of thing. So, like, the reason why I'm saying in terms of a conversation starter is that I feel like this film is telling you what it thinks. Maybe that can spark your conversation, but like, I don't. It's not like. It's not. It's not like.
I won't lie. I'm not one of those people who think Nollywood has responsibility. That has a responsibility to tell you not to do money rituals, right? I don't feel like they have a responsibility to, like, film is film, right? We watch what are they called? Ocean's 11, right? And if you decide to go form a team and do a heist, that's your problem. So I don't feel I'm not one of those people that thinks Nollywood has.
I don't
that
think that's quite the
responsibility.
same analogy, because I think few people think they are George Clooney and they can get that team, and I think some people will actually have the opportunity to do rituals and might take it. So I don't think it's the same thing. So but I think the point of this was, hey, rituals are not good. It's very obvious. It states it very much so. But
I will say I personally I didn't enjoy that part of the it could be a coincidence or it might not, like, oh well, this happened and this happened. I think that would have been interesting if they'd done a bit more with it.
Yes.
But I was perfectly fine with the jazz just backfiring. Or working out the way it worked out without the question of, it's a coincidence, it's not. I would have liked I would have appreciated more of a, when Toby's pushing back, where Toby's character is pushing back, it's not real.
Yes.
Right?
It could have just been
a push. It's not real, fine as a pushback, right? But it could have been I feel like it would have been more significant if the pushback was, I don't care about the consequences to myself. I'm not going to hurt other people. Right? But whatever, right? That's just like a moral thing. I don't really care about that. But yeah, I didn't appreciate that part of the story. I will push back on, not push back, but like personally, I didn't really care that the women didn't have that much more to do. I know there have been a lot of instances where it bugged me, but like you said, it wasn't their film. It wasn't their film.
Let us have one now.
Now you fighting for representation. It wasn't their film, so I was fine with them not having that much more to do. But I don't agree that if they'd been taken out, nothing would have happened, because it was Adugo's character that did that extra push for, that's part of that thing in his ear, like, you're failing, right? Why are you failing this company my father gave you? That's a bit of extra push. There's this she was the one who got him that loan extension. There's this, go on, do what Baba says, right? Do it. Fuck those boys. Like, they're your raggedy friends from school. Giving that extra push while he was still being indecisive. And then, who are they going to kidnap for Toby if he didn't have a partner? It's annoying, but she was his partner. She wasn't part of that team. She wasn't part of that jazz. She was, who are they going to kidnap if she wasn't there?
Yeah. All right, let's take some tweets. Some people joining the conversation using the hashtag Nollywood Film Club. Listening to Nollywood Film Club by, hang on, I've already said that one, sorry. The second and the third, this is from Little Call Me. The second act and the third act was rushed. I was confused. Eunice says, and this might be one of the many from the Erica fans. I love how Erica embodied her character. All you have to do is call Baba and everything will be fine. Such a supportive wife. Such a supportive wife. Yes. I guess she was supportive. I'm not sure that was the whole point of her character, but Adalgo executed her character so well. And then actress, let's not forget that. All right, another, yes. And Erica, this is a stern reminder to anybody who thinks Erica is just starting her acting career from Gisele. Sorry if I'm butchering your name. Erica, before BBN, was a badass actress. Let's not forget that. And she has a list of all the things she did before, all the acting gigs she did before BBN. So check that out. I guess including I think my flatmates or the basket mat thing. Anyway, but you can join the conversation. Use hashtag Nollywood Film Club. You can also rate this on Nolly Data. It's also part of the pinned. It's our pinned tweet. All right. Mel, do you want to say some of the things that didn't sit well with you in this?
Yes. I think that the two things that I can think about now, besides the thing about moving through scenes that has already been talked about, it made the scenes feel halted. But the other two things I can think about is continuity And I think that the part that it shows really well, there's two parts that it comes across really well to me. And the first part was with the spinning dog skull in Baba's shrine. It just it felt like a curious decision to me to choose to make that spin, because you can't control the tempo of the spin across the scenes. You can't control it for the direction either. So it was very clear that like there was definitely continuity issues there, because one shot the head is spinning, the next shot it slowed down, it has stopped. I thought the spinning head itself was distracting, which is why I noticed it, I guess. So that I think also Shawn's teeth. I'm not sure if I even understand what was happening there. I think that because he uses a lot of drugs, and pretty harsh ones, they were going for like physical markers of his drug use, and so they called it his teeth, I think. But it wasn't consistent across the film. The coloring or just it being present stuff wasn't consistent across for the film. What's the other one that I don't like? The other thing that stands out to me that I didn't like right now is that I don't know if I got brotherhood from the boys. And I don't know if this makes sense, but this is what I felt. I felt like they came across as chilled guys who just met that day rather than guys who had sworn to be brothers. So that depth of relationship I thought was missing. Like I looked at them and I thought, oh yeah, they're friends and they're chilled, but are they brothers? I did not think so. And if the movie was hinged upon them being brothers, I would have liked to see a lot more demonstration of that. Alexis, that's his name, right? Obi wasn't there, and it didn't feel like somebody was missing, and there should have been that emptiness, but it didn't come across. Even the way that they killed each other, I didn't feel too sad, because again, I wasn't uber invested in them being like, oh, brothers for life or whatever. The handshake that they had, I don't think there was a lot to sell the idea of them being brothers. I didn't buy it. I also think it didn't come across. That's about it, I think, that I can think about right now.
All right, thanks, Mel. Some more people sending it tweets. Tempest in the T-bot says, it always feels like Nollywood Film Club people are reading my mind. Oh, thanks, Tempest in the T-bot. Shout out to all of our speakers. And she also says, I think Erica was doing too much, overly expressive, and this was very obvious when she was with Uzor Arukwe on screen. All right, I think all of our speakers have avoided this. Fair enough. Time for me to crack open this. But yes, I do think Erica's performance was one of the weakest in the Blood Covenant. And Jesus, it's so unfair given all of the actors she
had to act
she's
next
acting
to,
next to,
yeah.
just powerhouses, and it just sticks out. There's no way of getting around it. Like, it really did stick out. One thing I will say about Erica is that she clearly does have a passion for this. She's grinding. She's doing some Iroko TV movies. So I don't think this isn't like some Big Brother people that I have seen who have shown up for a cameo. She has been working at it, so
Yeah,
it's not just a. I give him credit to where credit is due. That's not that big a caveat. I've said it. Did you say it? I said it.
I was going to say I agree after I read
my
the
friend
tweet,
sit
but
down.
you carried it, so
You gotta sit down. Anyway, but yes, no, I do think Erica's performance was quite obviously it's the one that stood out very much as not a good one. Sorry, Erica fans. It is what it is.
Apologies to Tempest in a teapot, because I'm already seeing the comments.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Mel, again as well. You can join the conversation if you want to rate the Blood Covenant yourself. If you think Tempest is wrong, and Erica's performance was just great. You can
Go to Naughty Data.
there's a Naughty Data, and you can rate and review the Blood Covenant there. It's also a pinned tweet. Okay, all right. Onyinye, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. So I'll talk about so there are some things that they did that they didn't do well, or at least didn't really work for me, and there's some things that they didn't do enough of, I would say. So I think, as like most people have said, a lot of things felt rushed. I would just coin it as attention to detail being missing in a lot of places, and it was like small things like, a whole SWAT team coming in to arrest one guy for fraud, and big things like the first cult scene where Obi was killed. That really was supposed to be a pivotal scene in the movie, but it was so underwhelming. And I think it was partly because the stunts were sloppy, which I won't really blame them for that much. The setting was meh. The police came out of nowhere. And as people have mentioned before, we didn't have any time to process what was happening before they threw in this whole police interrogation nonsense. Speaking of, I'm gonna jump to the things that they did that I didn't like. I don't understand the whole detective plot line. Like, I think I know what they were going for, but the whole execution of that element was not well thought out. And also, Ufoma McDermott's character, I don't know if she watched some CSI movie and decided she was going to try that, but it wasn't working. And it was hard to watch, especially the second time. I had to resist the urge to fast forward. And yeah, that whole interrogation scene was just, it was off. I think I know what they were going for, but I think it just did not work. And with regards to that, the main thing, I'll say the number one thing I did not like, or maybe the number two thing I didn't like. I know many people have said they liked the message, but I think they were going for a message, and then they had this whole monologue with the detective about coincidence, and I think that's what threw everything off balance. If they had just stuck with the whole idea of cultism is bad, I think it would have been fine. And then that whole thing is just like, I started second guessing, like, okay, what are they going for? Are they trying to tell us that it actually is bad because it doesn't work, or is bad because it backfires? I don't know. It's funny how a small thing like that thrown towards the end of, was it the second act or the beginning of the third act? I'm not sure. Towards the end of the movie could just end the whole like message of your movie, at least for me. Now, one small thing that did not work for me. The Rufus guy, they tried to make him look bad. It did not land for me. It was like trying, I don't know why it didn't work. Like, there was this scene where he washed his hand in, was it a fish bowl? And I mean, I've had blood on my hands before from killing a chicken, and I know what, I mean, you don't even need to have done that before, but you can just tell it was watercolor or some sort of like pastel color. That was a small thing, but just the whole thing around that character, I didn't also understand what they were trying to do with him. But I felt like he had a lot more scenes than he was useful for. And then they tried to make him really scary, which I guess I can see why they tried to make him look scary. I just didn't really understand what they were trying to do with him, and most of what I thought they were trying to do did not really work. Yeah, so those are the things I didn't like. Yeah, I was afraid to talk about Erica, honestly, but because I just came in and I saw all her fans really with the ammunition. But I'm glad Mr. C went on the cross for us and did that. Take it off my chest. Her performance was the weakest. Not to say that she's a terrible actress, but it just stood out that she was the weakest link. Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you, Ernie. All right. So, yeah, as I suspected, there's some pushback from the Erica fans. No need to put all of the tweets up, but the general justice, they disagree, which is fine. I'll put this one up. This from Josephine says, if Erica character was doing too much, I wonder how Ufoma character was doing. I agree. Ufoma's character was also not the best. I think we have a problem with all our Nigerian investigative journalists or detectives. Blood Sisters was also bad. The journalist in Living in Bondage was also bad. I guess we haven't really gotten. I don't know.
I think it's because we're important.
Yeah.
We don't have a Nigerian detective culture.
Well, I don't know. We don't have.
Of it,
yes, we don't know which one where to get that version of a Nigerian detective.
I wouldn't know what a Nigerian detective is like.
But like the things that, that's sort of, I guess, a combination of both the actor, the director, and the script. They can just tell us how how they want the detective or that character to be perceived. But like what we keep on getting is a copycat of the Hollywood version. You can always see the traits in there. But yeah, I think we noticed that. But thanks for raising up anyway.
I want to just reemphasize that SWAT team to get that one fraudster, because yes, I remember them coming in and I was like, nah, that's too much.
A bit much, yes.
Yeah.
All right. I'll just remind you, you can, if you really disagree with that, show us by going to nollydata.com. It's our pinned tweet. Review it to your heart's content. You can sign up as a contributor. It should take less than 2 minutes.
And then you never have to sign up again.
Yes, and yes, you can just review and rate all the Erica movies we put on there. Anyway, Anyika, do you want to say some of the things that didn't take well with you?
Yes. So, as everybody mentioned, pacing was an issue. It was an issue. So everybody has already mentioned that. So I'll move on from that. I did see some issue with editing too. Like, especially, this is one thing I kind of want Nollywood to get very good at. Like, edit dialogue so that people can follow the dialogue, right? And follow it very well. And put the actor, when they're acting, put them on screen so that we can see it. Even just know how to use when to do a wide shot, a mid shot, all those things, and how to edit it together. That's something, that's more of a technical thing. And I know it's difficult. Even Misha, I don't completely know how to do it, but this is not my area of work. So story-wise, I can see where Miss Elizabeth is coming from. I did praise the plot line of the story because the reason why I classified it as an horror was because in the thought that it really did change into more of an horror aesthetic, and it does have a plot line. So it has a plot line, it has a story. But like now the bits of the plot line, did it completely work in many ways? No, maybe it's also an issue of pacing, because when you're thinking about plot in a visual medium, it's also how does it visually look? How does it, for instance, the show came out where Alex Okubo was murdered, right? It happened in rapid succession that I'm just like, what's going on? The Baba, and I didn't even know whether the Baba disappeared. I was like, didn't they just not see the Baba? And then the police officer came. So there was not a very clear stopping of it. Maybe it was editing issues that was also in that. So this is where pacing can also affect the beats of the story. Also, I am a little bit confused to what the story is trying to tell me. Is the story trying to tell me that it's fake? Because the way the actress and the actor acted out in the first time, the detective actor acted it out about ritualism and all these things, and the fact that they did get money from it, she made it seem like it was something real. And then we get the information of like maybe it wasn't real at the time where she goes to meet the guy named Tobi. I think the actor named Tobi. I've forgotten what his name in the movie actually is. the actor and then says it's all a coincidence. And it is like as what what Elizabeth said, right? It is very exploitative. Whatever that big word that she said that I can't pronounce right now. What they should have done story-wise is like they could have at least shown us those little setups that could make us the audience think that maybe it wasn't exactly the ritual and it was all these things that happened. Even they should have done that also for the time that, like, okay, when the bad things are happening, right? He said he checked it 3 times. When he did his Yahoo, he said he checked it 3 times, right? They should have at least shown us like maybe something was wrong when he was checking it 3 times so that we can see that, oh, maybe it's coincidence. Just to say that there was some definitely unnecessary characters and some characters that got not necessarily unnecessary, but characters that got way too much time. Like she mentioned about Rufus, way too much time than necessary for the story. It was I couldn't connect to the characters. I'm not going to lie to you. I could intellectually connect with the characters and intellectually connect with what they were doing, right? But I could not emotionally connect with it because the person was too much. The story, they didn't give as much, they didn't stay in the emotional beats long enough, but I can intellectually get it. The women characters too, yes, there's an issue, it's not their story, but there were some women characters that was not necessary to be there. Ronke, for instance, our plot something makes no sense. She's supposed to be one of their what's it called? Their schoolmates from a very expensive school, and yet she's willing to be with this guy that is clearly outside, clearly showing his teeth is dirty, everything. And you're telling me this girl that supposedly come from a very rich something is going to be with this it's not only that he's a drug addict, is that he's outwardly showing that he's a drug addict. Outwardly showing, like it's not. There are many drug addicts that present themselves very well. His teeth is there, all this thing makes no sense. And she's also willing. This rich girl is also willing to do a threesome with this obviously less than something guy that was arrested in front of her for fraudster and then still continues whatever. Maybe she's a wild rich girl, but again, why did you give her a backstory? It's not necessary. The other women, at least they have some sort of value of use of it, right? What other thing? Yes, in regards to like, okay, is it trying to tell us ritualism and Nollywood spreading ritualism? See, this movie is trying to do like old Nollywood rituals movie, and old Nollywood ritual movie I think is much better because one, they do connect emotionally, and two, old Nollywood ritual movies, this is the thing that sometimes people don't get. Those rituals never end up well, right? They have to do incredibly. The thing is that they go for the ritual, right? But they have to do something very specific that it's almost impossible that they would definitely make that mistake. For instance, never kiss your child, because once you kiss your child, this bad thing will happen. It's like a very, very high bar of something that they cannot do. That is so something that they will obviously have to do if they are living life. That is obviously going to happen. So there's already consequences there, and all characters, it's like a stereotype. They will eventually do that thing that they are not supposed to do, right? And bad things happen to them. So I never thought how Nollywood promoted it, but then again, in movies, what's it called? Wolf of Wall Street is not supposed to promote Wall Street, that movie, that 98 movie that made Greed is Good and made a bunch of people nowadays want to go into Wall Street, right? That movie was anti-Wall Street, but people got Wall Street is good for me, and the director absolutely hates the fact that people got that information. The same thing with Wolf of Wall Street too. People got like Wall Street is good, but it was a critique of Wall Street. So I guess you can say that of Nollywood. But yes, everybody has pointed out that the fact that what they're saying that is not good, if this movie has a message, is that, oh, it doesn't work. But the premise value should be like, you shouldn't do it because you are killing people. The premise values should be like, and that's the thing about old Nollywood, right? That's the premise value of not doing ritualism, is that you're killing people, and you're killing people that you love, and you have to kill sometimes. And that they are bad because they do it, not because they get something from it. They're bad because they kill people because of life. So those are some of the kind of issues with it. Now, I have now figured out who Miss Erica is. I hope she's not upset. I apologize. I sometimes have flaky brains, but I get what everybody is saying, that she does give one of the weakest performances. I don't necessarily. Sometimes I also think maybe we should also ask directing actresses also, what is the, like, I don't want to necessarily completely, I feel like she could do it if she was giving, she wanted at the end, if she had to give like that Lady Macbeth something. I can see hints of how she could possibly do it, but I wish the director had directed her better, or giving her better something, or maybe even there were so many other issues with the technicality and just the way the story was set up from the very beginning, that I think also might have already let her down. Even if she was a weaker actress or not, might have already let her down. I think she has the ability to be better. I didn't like Alex Okubo the first time I ever saw him in the movie. It was bad. Now it got better. I doing this very specific thing, and I think she has the opportunity to be better. She has something in it. So those are some of the things that I find that makes this movie a little missing the beat, right? Missing the beat. You can have, the female characters don't necessarily have to be, they don't have to be the center. It's okay that they're not the center. But the issue is that you should still consider the fact that you gave this character some sort of the story that you gave this character, you should at least still respect it, right? But yeah, there were useless characters. So those are some of the issues I think makes this movie a little bit iffy. You can intellectually get where they are coming from, but you cannot emotionally connect with it. You can see that these guys grew up surrounded. They are the scholarship kids that went to an expensive rich school, right? I think there were so many emotional story beats that they should have stayed in. They should have explored how that affected them. They should also explore how the money and how the effects, and just show more than tell. So they had a 2 hour something. They could have removed some fat that was not necessarily to give the emotional beat. That's the thing. You want to capture people's heart, but I can intellectually get it. So those are some of the issues I have with the movie.
All right, thanks, Anka. Just want to correct some stupid thing I said. I said sign up as a contributor at Nolly Data, but sign up as an audience, please. Sign up as an audience. If sign up as a contributor, it would take much longer, and also you probably get denied. I am a contributor, but sign up as an audience member. This should take very quickly on Nolly Data, and you'll be able to rate and review the Blood Covenant. It's our pinned tweet on, so if you check it out there, you'll be able to do that. Okay, so something I've been here, and welcome, Josephine. We'll get to you in a bit after Cynthia has a say. Something I've been hearing a bit is the whether it was ritual or whether it was not ritual, whether it's real or fake. I guess there's one level to this where if we're trying to say you shouldn't do it because it has bad consequences, I guess there is something about introducing whether it's real or not that kind of undermines the other message of there's nothing good at the end. But I guess if you believe, though, I think the point is, if you do believe that it's ritual, there's nothing good for you at the end of the day anyway. So it's either, for me, you take it as there's nothing good at the end of that if you go down that road for you, or you just simply don't believe that exists. I think it, but I do understand why people think that it might undercut some of the messaging. I do think also this one's might be a direct response to Yinka. I think this movie barely has any fat. I think it needed just something to allow people rest sometimes. But yes, I think it moves very quickly, very quickly, too quickly sometimes. We explained it with that J cut. Okay, Cynthia, we'll go, and then it seems like we're gonna have some characters speaking after.
Oh, okay, yeah, thank you. So just because of some personal bias, I'll more of ask questions and give suggestions. But in general, I think the problem I had with this movie was over over prioritization of characters and scenes. Okay, and I know you are happy that it's a male character movie. I also felt like they let the female characters down. But let me start with the minor, the police. So the police worked in the movie, but I mean this movie is shot in Nigeria. At some time I was wondering if they had too much American influence. There were too American influence, and I was wondering if they were trying to shoot the future of the Nigeria police, because even their method, their interrogation style, everything wasn't Nigeria, okay? And yes, also with the police, the robotics scene worked with when the SWAT came in, but in the reunion where the waiter also did a robotic movement, I was like, why is this waiter working like a robot? Why is this waiter working like a robot? Then the sound. So even though I noticed the soundtrack they did when they did Brothers for Life when they were kids, and when they were gisting in the bar, they played that soundtrack. I also felt like they had a lot of shortcomings. So I don't know if this was a sound problem but I don't think it was an acting problem. Okay. So let me give one example and more examples to follow. So first, when Ufoma was narrating that her sister died, Amina, she saw her score and everything. I felt nothing. I was like, am I not supposed to be feeling something? I mean, you're saying someone died. I mean, to be feeling something. Then the whole main sentence of the movie, when the Baba said the covenant has been transferred, I was like, okay, okay, is there something else? Because like there was, I don't know if it's a sound, I don't know if it's a sound that would have pushed it, but I didn't feel anything. And I know they were trying to shoot a Gen Z ritual movie, which was beautiful, but I also believe that what is sacred should also be sacred. Okay, so a lot of time when they went to meet the Baba, there was even a time the Baba was doing a lot of incantation, he did some stuff and everything, and there was no sound to scare me. I wanted my heart to jump. um, I just wanted to feel something. I just wanted to feel something. So I felt they had shortcomings there. And the ritual scene happened like 3 times. So it was only when they were killing Advantage that they brought out sound. And it was also a cool sound, but because the acting was so good, we could feel something. But other time they went to this Baba, there was nothing. There was nothing. And I think maybe sound would have helped or something would have helped. Then like everybody has said, they had camera movement and fast forwarding, and this affects like the fluidity of the movie. So the first one was, this is not a camera movement. I don't know what they were trying to do. Probably they were trying to test a camera style. But we're in the office scene, and Udwak went to ask Jite, why didn't you tell her? It was as if the camera rotated. I was not dizzy, but I felt something was odd in that scene. I felt something was odd in that scene. I just felt like this camera you are doing in this scene, it doesn't fit. It's odd in this scene, okay? I understand that you guys have good camera technique, but this camera movement was so odd. Then with the pasting, and which also affected the female character. So we have this scene where Kenny so Bakare just finished talking to his boss, and Kenny was staring at him. And Kenny breathed in, and they didn't even let her to breathe out. We're already seeing them in a car talking. And I was like, this is probably the start of Kenny and Toby and Eddie's relationship. Let this girl breathe in. Let her breathe out. Let her look at this guy with this pity look. Okay? Like it was like anytime the camera was on the woman, it was let's move. Let's move. And we also saw it with Adogu. So Adogu is eating, and this character is supposed to be a boss lady. So she's eating, and the next thing we saw her standing up and she's already talking to Uzor Arukwe. And I'm like, as she's eating, the way she will even stand up, the way she will walk to him, will also help us to convince this character you're trying to build. But they were just like moving the camera, and I would have forgiven them for all the old camera fast pacing and everything until this scene happened, and I was like, no, I'm going to hold it to them. So the guys met and they were gisting, and Jite wanted to tell us he kissed Udwak, and he did the flashback, and Udwak, I don't even know what happened. We just saw him kiss Udwak. Everything was confusing, and he came back, and they came back to the scene, and I was like, but this movie is an hour 41 something minutes. All these additional scenes wouldn't have like take anything. Like it would have helped us connect to what you are building. I felt like when the flashback is happening, yes, it kissed Udwak, and even Udwak character, they didn't like develop it enough for me to know if she even liked this guy. Okay. So I felt like after the kiss, maybe she would have been like, what about Adogu? And be like, forget Adogu. Like we are still seeing the flashback and the kiss continues and they come back to the guys and maybe Jite is in a trance and the guys snapping out of it. But the way they did it was like, well, we are shooting the woman. Well, we are shooting the woman. Let's move fast, okay? And now for the female characters. So in the movie poster, so I might be wrong. In the movie poster, I see the male lead, I see the female characters, and I see Shaliwa, the lady that played Ronke Davis, and I see Chimezie Emo. And Rufus is not in the movie. Rufus is not in the movie poster. So from the movie poster, I would have imagined that Ronke Davis has like a strong role or a strong character in this movie. But I felt like if you remove Ronke Davis from this whole movie, now I'm not talking about her acting, I'm talking about what she had to play. Like if you remove Ronke Davis from this movie, you won't feel anything. Nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to add up. And like when Oyinkan was talking, I was clapping because they introduced this girl as the hottest babe. It wasn't even about her from being a rich school. There was also another tag that she was the hottest babe. They didn't like tell us if she was looking for husband. So I didn't understand why she was all over Oceano. And Oceano was not even rich at that time. So I would have probably expected them to explore, okay, an hottest babe who probably is falling for this guy, but she's pretending not to fall for this guy. Okay, so she has this pretense character in her, and she shouldn't even be the one to go and talk to Oceano. There was nothing to trigger why she would go and talk to Oceano. Oceano was not already rich at that time. Okay, maybe Oceano comes to meet her and she forms, and then she has this look of, okay, I'm going to, I think I like him, but it's not in my league. Then he gets money, then she comes into character, and maybe she even steals money at the ending, but she but she sure needed something. She sure needed something in the movie because I felt she was also a higher character compared to Rufus. And if you remove Rufus from the movie, I would have felt something. But if you remove Ronke Davis, I won't feel something. Then Kenny's character, Omowunmi. Well, the only time they almost spoiled Kenny's character was when they caught her from finishing her breathing for me. But Omowunmi is a fantastic actor. She's a good actress. So she was able to be in character. And for me, she was like the best female in this movie. She was able to be in character. And I also felt like she would have played another role in this movie. Now, Adogu and Udwak. So Adago's character needed to work for Udwak's character to work. Udwak's character needed to work for Adago's character to work. And none of them were working well. Okay. And the mistake or the problem started from how Adagu was introduced. So fair enough. They wanted Erica to play the rich man's daughter plus the boss lady. The only problem is at the ending, the rich man's daughter overshadowed the boss lady. And it was the boss lady that was making the decision. Okay. So we have this office thing where she did a rich man's daughter. Oh, do you like my hair? And she walks out. And when she also came back, it was as if they fast forward a movement and they later made it slow and the whole thing happened and she gave a kiss and she walked out. And I was like, are we supposed to be scared of this character? Are we supposed to feel the boss lady? Like Udrak was showing some expression in the background that she was scared. I didn't know why she was scared, okay? And then okay, so to see why I felt they paid attention to the boys. Then we saw Adogo again when Obi came, and Adogo was giving him one bad eye. And I felt like in the office scene, okay, because the second scene that Adogo is telling us that I see the way you look at Udwak. In the office scene, why didn't they give us that female bad look? Why didn't Adogo look at Udwak in a bad way? Like she gave the look to Obi, which I'm like, okay, where is that female intense rivalry between Adogu and Udwak? Okay. And yeah, I felt if I felt if they had probably twitched a performance or directed her in a different way, it would have been better than what we saw. Okay, maybe because like in female characters, we know how they dress, how they walk, and how they talk is also part of a character. Maybe if they had changed their dressing to show more of the boss lady dressing and leave the old flowing gown, rich man gown, and everything. Because at the end, when she came back and she was talking to Jite, I only noticed a earring because it was dangling. So if they probably changed her attire, changed very tired to walk slowly, talk deeper, it would have probably helped convincing us that this lady has the boss lady character they wanted us to see because it was the boss lady that changed the fate of the movie and not the rich man's daughter. Okay. And even when the kiss happened, I also felt, why is she kissing Jite? Jite didn't show he was scared of her. So why is she asked to kiss Jite in the movie? Like, probably if Jite had shown sign that, oh, I'm scared of this character, and she kissed Jite, would have felt something. But why is she kissing him? Why is she kissing him? Why is she kissing him? It just did not work. It just did not work. And I don't know. I mean, if they were going to pick her to be the boss lady, I felt like they would have shown us the boss lady, even if it was to add an additional 30 seconds of her walking out of the office and the employees were scared of her. But we needed that boss lady because it was the boss lady that made the decision. And for Udwak, they probably needed to show us that this character was interested in Jite too. Because at the ending, even when Adogu told Jite to kill Udwak, he still chose to save Udwak. Why is he saving Udwak? Okay, he likes her. Okay, but you are killing your wife. This character is still supposed to be interested. Is still supposed to be interested in you, and they didn't do that. So yeah, I just felt like the female characters were left in the background, and they had so much focus on these male characters. It was as if the camera hated the female characters. But I think the camera hated the female characters, and it was obvious because we are watching the full movie and we could see that the female characters were in the background. And yeah, so that's all I have for my part. Is it when I can't get anything?
Yeah, me too. I'm listening.
All right. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, his phone first.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back.
All right. So,
Yes. No, thanks, Cynthia. That was good. So we're going to be going to some of the Erica peeps. All right. We're happy to have you on here, by the way. Please feel free to say your mind, but just remember we're just stating our opinion. But yes, you're very much welcome to say whatever you want. Josephine, let's start with you.
Yeah, hi, good
Hi.
evening,
Good
guys.
evening. Welcome.
This is Josephine, and yes, I'm an elite.
Yeah.
And as you already know, someone will definitely come and defend Erica, and yes, I'm here.
Sorry,
And
Josephine, can I just confirm? Are you Ghanaian?
yeah, I am.
Wow, international. Go on.
Okay, so Blood Covenant was a very great movie and a very well story told. And I think at the end of the movie, everything was understood. But we got different views and different opinion. Everyone watching from their own perspective, and I cannot take that from anyone. But yeah, as I'm here and as I'm an elite, I'm here to speak on Adago's character. So when you mean Erica, like Adago's character is the weakest, it makes me question if some of you guys truly understand the word weak. Cause even if you ask Google to explain the word weak, it will give you a physically demanding task, like someone who couldn't perform. So if that Adago's character couldn't perform, I don't think we would get the story clearly. All the female characters their roles were weak. They didn't have anything like much to add to the guy's character, the main characters. And they were just their story was clear enough. So when you mean Adago's character was weak, I truly don't understand, because hers wasn't weak. Ufome's character was weak. Ronke's character was weak. Omowunmi, she's a very great actress and I like her acting, but hers was also weak for such person to give in such character without any role to play. She was just there. So I don't really understand why everyone is coming for Erica only, because all the females' character were weak. Their roles given to them were weak. So is it hypocrisy, or because I don't understand? Everyone is talking about an Adago's character, except the only person who just spoke before me, Cynthia, who touched on every female character. So I don't know why, because sometimes you need to be very considerate. Is it because she's Erica that everyone is coming for her, or what? Because I don't understand. We all need to be considerate in analyzing movies and everything, because it shouldn't be them. It shouldn't be only Erica. Just remove Erica there. There's Blood Covenant. Adago's, because she gave it because it was fantastic. Like my expression changed when she just came off like, did you go, you have to go see Baba. Like, where was that coming from? No, I don't think anybody expected that. No one did. It came in surprisingly. And so if she had followed them and knew all this and kept it, how is it weak? At least she contributed most of I think she had most of the female. She did well. Her character was well expressed, and I don't know why everyone is getting it wrong, but it's my perspective. And I know she did. She passed it. And we all like this. So I don't know, is it hypocrisy, or you just don't like Erica, so whatever she's doing is not perfect, or she just needs to do more? Yeah, she's been in the game, and there's room for improvement. And we all know, every single actor, even if it's your first role, you've been acting since, there's always room for improvement. So I don't like it, but I can't complain, because that's your opinion. But yeah, we should always be considerate. She's an actress, and there's more room to improve herself. And yeah, so this is my opinion though. I hope I didn't insult anybody or nobody felt offended.
No, thank you so much, Stephen. I actually admire your passion for, I think the kind of passion you have for like, elites, your fellow elites, and Erica, it's kind of we can empathize with that kind of passion because I think
Yeah,
that's
because the
basically
thing is, apart
yeah,
from the Black Covenant, yes, I'm an elite by a human being, and I will have to criticize everything that I see that I don't like. I've watched several of Erica's movie and know, and just from the movie that I watched, I just know that Erica could have done better. And yeah, there's so many movie that I've watched of her, and like I know she could have done better. Like this wasn't perfect and everything, but she with the Black Covenant, she wasn't the only one. You get, she wasn't the only one. All
can
the
I,
females role given wasn't, their roles were weak and it was poor. So if you touch only on
no,
Adago's character,
all right, just let me just finish what I was saying. So
okay.
the we well saying we can empathize with like that kind of passion and all of that. I would suggest also that like we didn't spend very long on Erica. Like we've been speaking for almost 2 hours. Erica maybe has a total combination of 2 minutes. We've actually been doing around, but I think I get where you're coming from because like this is your particular area of expertise, and you hopefully I've given you a platform to share your pushback. And thank you for sharing your pushback. But like I'm speaking to the future elite. I will still let you guys speak. But like I kind of feel like I know where this is going to be going. You guys disagree that we think her character is the weakest, which, by the way, the weakest doesn't mean is necessarily bad. Somebody actually specifically said she didn't think she was bad. I do, but like somebody said, they don't think it was bad. That
Yeah,
they
I
think it was
get it,
the
but
worst out of the two.
I just wanted to correct the weak because if she being the weakest, I wonder who how Bolanle's character was. That was what I wanted to
I feel like
pinpoint.
we're mixing up our definitions
Yeah,
of
yeah.
weak.
So also like the characters that we're talking about the lead characters. I imagine is what people would be talking about. I don't see. Maybe you can classify the detective as a lead character. I don't know. Like she
It's just
doesn't. She
when
feels
no, I
very.
think we're mixing up the definition of weak as well. It's not, oh, this person as a character doesn't have any strength, like this woman is weak
Oh
willed.
yes.
That's not the definition of weak that's being used here. The definition of the weak being used in this context is the execution of the character being weak, or some of the writing surrounding the
Yes.
build up of the character versus the strength of said character.
Yes. She was giving very the shared version of like we get it. You're supposed to be sort of
Bad bitch.
bad.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
get that.
that vibe. And look, if it worked for you, I'm glad it worked for you. But I don't want to spend too long on it. But thanks, suggestion. Let me give it to your other elite. Core elite. Core elite, please. The mic, the floor is yours. What did you
All
say?
right. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Loud and clear.
All right. Yeah, I'm also an elite, just like the previous speaker. But firstly, firstly, I want to say that the movie was good. To be honest, I normally wouldn't, go to the cinema to watch a Nigerian movie because I feel like, you know. But this wasn't bad because it was like a different plot twist. Now the ending was quite different for me for like what I'm normally used to. I was like, you know what, this is going to happen. I didn't expect the Baba to be killed, to be honest. I understand that a lot of people, it was a little bit fast. The pace was maybe it should have taken more time, given it more time. I would have sat through the movie, to be honest, because it was a good script. It was, and for me, every person delivered. How you expect someone else to is different. The director has what he wants in mind, right? If the director is not satisfied with, what the character is portraying, he will ask the person to take another shot at it, right? So what people are definitely saying, oh, when you hear boss chick, but just because you're a boss doesn't mean you have to be nasty. Doesn't mean you have to give someone like a nasty look, or you can be a boss chick that is still sort of nice, right? So for me, I feel like all the supporting characters did a good job. Omowunmi, Erica, and I don't remember the other person's name, but they tried. Bolanle as well, and they actually did okay. It was all right, but I feel what they wanted to do was to focus on the main characters. I think we're getting lost in that. We're really judging the female characters. The female characters did good, to be honest. I feel they actually did good. So for I'm America's fan, but also just because I love her, I'm also a critic. So when I watch a movie of hers, what I do is I try to, get people that I not necessarily have fans to watch the movie and to just tell me, oh, what do you think about the movie? So with this one, I did the same thing. And I got people that are not crazy about Big Brother. They don't give two, let me not swear. And I'm like, okay, you guys, watch this movie. I literally cajoled them and they watched it. And I was like, so what do you think? Firstly, they hate Nigerian movies and they were like, oh, it was actually okay. It wasn't bad. I'm like, so it wasn't a waste of your time. They're like, no. I'm like, okay, that's good. So what do you think of my girls acting? And for me, these are people that are normally quite blunt. And they thought it was okay as well. They're like, oh, she did way better than they would have thought. I feel like her acting has improved over time. People are being unnecessary judgmental because they feel like, oh, she's acting because of a privilege, or she got the role because of a privilege of being on Big Brother and having a large fan base of some sort, forgetting that she has trained for this, she has done this for a couple of years, and no one is perfect immediately, right? Everybody is flawed. I could floor a lot of the actors. A lot of people didn't they made one mistake. I would say mistake, but some things I thought, but yet again, I'm not the one acting. If they were to put me in that shoe, will I pull it off as well? Everybody cannot be an absolute natural like Bimbo Adimwe, Genevieve Naji, or Motola. Not everyone, even the likes of Genevieve back in the days, we watched her movies. Genevieve struggled at the beginning. So I think we need to cut these people some slack. We're being way too judgmental, to be honest. I think the movie was a good one. I enjoyed it. I've watched it twice or thrice. I think thrice now. It's not bad, to be honest. That's just my take on it.
Thank you, Koile. Can I say,
Yeah.
first off, you are very well spoken. I've been doing this for a while. You flow through your sentences a lot better than I do. But I would also say that I think there's clearly, and I know you said you don't think there's a bias here, but I think that there is, because you're an elite. You have to just acknowledge it. It's gonna be, there's no how, and that's fine. By the way, there are movies, by the way, that I like that my fellow Nollywood Film Club members roast me for. They know I'm a Namaste Wahala fan. That film gets its problem, but I know it's not great. I just love it the way it is anyway, and it's fine. It's fine that people have different opinions, and this is why I welcome you. But I would say that we praise Tobi, who is a Big Brother alum. So it's not a Big Brother. It's not some sort of Big Brother bigotry. It's not Big Brother
it has been. If I look from what I've seen on the TL, it has been.
No.
That's why I feel it. Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, okay, I don't know what.
But
just to say, yeah. And also, again, I would also say, I don't think there has been a specific particularly harsh criticism of her. But it's good to hear from you. And I'm happy that you came on to speak. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No problem at all. Thanks for sharing with us. We're going to start doing summaries. And Elizabeth and Inkas, I know you. Inka, I see your hands up. Maybe you can say what you want to say, and then do your summary, Jenna, of this. Let's start with Elizabeth.
Please, Mr. C, don't rush you. So I've held.
Okay, you do your own. Inka will do her own, and then we'll do summary.
Yeah, thank you very much. So there's just this one thing that I want. Oh, it's actually two things. So the first thing is I held on to it since everybody has been talking. So what I meant by conversation starter is not that I'm not saying it should be preachy. I'm not saying that we should talk about living in bondage was a conversation starter at some point. We've got a bunch of stuff that has been conversation starters. Watching Yahoo Plus has been a conversation. So when we say scripts, is meant to be a conversation starter is because somewhere in that script, somebody put the plausibility of it being coincidence. I didn't put it there. It wasn't me. Look, if you remove that single thing, right, while watching it, I don't mind it. You've created the universe where blood covenants, works, and some strange man appears out of nowhere, no origin, and then just start telling you what to do. Fine, you've already created that world, right? But when you introduce something, because again, they've been using a lot of exposition to push the plot forward. So it's not my fault that I've decided to follow their exposition as maybe there's a clue of something we're missing out on because it was not foreshadowed at any point, right? The guys had already told us how things went on, is going on smoothly for them. We've started seeing it manifest. And then here it is, we're saying that Ada was the one that, slept with somebody to get something done, this getting done, that getting done. You've already given us the explanation, which even brings me back to Ada doing that and also believing in the Baba. So whatever, let's just shelve that. But so in the sense that you introduce a variable that did not exist in the first place, once you introduce that variable, again, Tobi's character's reaction to that statement, he reacted like his interest was piqued, right? Like there was a light bulb moment in that instant. Like you could see his eyes get brighter, shine brighter. Again, testament to his acting. Like you could see that he was already in it. There was some form of internal conflict going on with him. Like you could imagine that his brain was putting two and two together. Now, when you introduce that sort of variable, you just don't discard it and just shelf it, because in that moment, I've already held that because I'd already imagined that something is going to come out of it, because I probably thought that it's going to inform Tobi's decision, Eddie's rather, not him as a person, Eddie's decision in whatever it is that I was going to do eventually. So when I say conversations, is in such a way that how figurine had us out of the cinema questioning, is Dara Ramire right? Is it real? Is it figment of imagination? Are the coincidences just coincidences? They don't have explanations, right? So that's what I meant by conversation starter, because when that movie was shown, I think everybody that I knew then that watched it had that conversation going on with them, like, what's happening? What do you think? Do you think the figurine is real? Do you think it is not? So that's what I mean by conversation starter as intended. Okay, so on to, please, come baby, as an elite myself, please. So I would like us to be calming down, elite. I love you guys. You guys are doing what I'm too shy to do on the timeline. But Biko, like when I was saying so many things, I probably didn't mention Erica at all because I wasn't exactly pleased with that performance. She was in this one. I preferred her to, when I watched what was that other one that was on? I'll hire a man or waiting with that. She was, for me, I felt like I felt like she was a lot better. And before, like when we started this, a lot of people talked about me, also myself, like talked about how when Tobi started, he was very unsure of himself. Like if you watch all of, like, if you go back to like Tobi's movies when he started, there was a lot of time that he was unsure. Like when you're seeing him on screen, you can see that he's acting like he's reading out the script and he's a little bit unsure of his own abilities. And now we've seen that he has gotten better. Even in this one, there's these scenes where I felt like I was convinced, and other scenes that I felt like I wasn't convinced enough. But that's the thing about acting, right? Like a lot of people, but like when you see the interest and the passion, like movie makers will probably give you a chance, let you like learn on the job. A lot of people on the job will like this babe to this Alakija. Sophie was very terrible when she started, but now she's owning the screen, like she's gotten really better. So I think we really need to calm down, because there's nothing wrong with critiquing, because it also helps people get better. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks, Elizabeth. As I will continue to call you for the rest of both of our lives. Gift Yele, I know you requested to. I think I will get to you, but let's let Gift Yele have a word. Good evening. Welcome to us. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Okay. I've been listening for how many? For some hours now, or maybe 2 hours or more. And a lot of people have said a lot of things, what they like about the movie and what they don't like. When I first watched the movie, when I watched it for the first time, I realized it was all about the guys. So they were the one that plays the lead characters, and the female were just supporting. And people say Erica did not. I'm a lead. You can see my name there, and you can see the picture I use is on. So people, what I don't like is you read a message from someone that say Erica character was the weakest, and you capitalize on it. You say you didn't want to say it. Another person speak. I didn't want to say. This other person speak. I didn't want to say. And my question is, did she write the script? Did the actors read the script by themselves? Are they not producers and director? Like one of my teammates say, they give it to the producer. If it's not good enough, the producer will ask them to take another shot. I have been in a movie location just for 3 days. I've seen the way they work, and those people give a lot. Honestly, we just watch it on screen and criticize them, condemn their work, their effort. It's not nice. I just listen to a lot of people say her character was the weakest. I mean, she only have a very few to do, just a little or less to do in the movie. So how come her character was the least? I enjoyed the movie. The guys did very good job. The female, because I think that's what they asked them to do, and they give their best. That's all I can say. But I think some people speak in the place of eight here in this space. I've been listening to a lot of people, because you don't like, I even hear someone, one here saying that I don't believe in Big Brother people, something like that. I mean, are they not human? All of them have what they want to do in their lives, and they do. Erica started in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, doing those small roles. And she's still learning. She's still trying to better herself. So it's so unfair for people to come on this space and actually condemn her effort and everything she put in that movie. So bad. And you, Mr. Host, you put something that elite call your member of the movie club out. And I want to know why you put that as your caption yesterday when you want to host this space. Are you just looking for the attention of the elite or what? Because I was wondering, that's one of the reasons that even make me to join this space, so that I will hear what you talk about, what you at least say they call you people out for. That's one of my reasons. For the people that condemn the girls' effort, that is you people business. You guys will be fine. Last. All of you will be fine. That's all I have to say. As for me, as a fan, I watched that movie 3 times to understand each of everyone character there. The guys did so well. The lady do so well. Erica Nlewedim did her best. She interpret her rules very well. That's all I have to say. So you people are the critics. Oh, yeah, you don't believe in Big Brother people. They are human beings. They also have what they want to achieve in their lives. That's why all of them are out there trying to do 1 or 2 things. So it's very bad for you to come here and say that you don't believe in BBN people. They were human. They have plans before they even go to that house. So free them. Free Erica, all of you, free her. That's all I have to say. And bye.
Hello, sorry. I just need to defend my word here. I did not say that I don't believe in Big Brother people. I said that I was skeptical when I saw Big Brother people, what people from Big Brother on movies. However, did I not just say that I enjoyed Tobi Bakare's performance? You can be skeptical about something, but at the end of the day, results are results. You can't speak against results. Tobi Bakare's performance was strong, and so I liked that. I also said that, and I think a lot of people here that are Erica's fans are maybe a little bit reading too much into the very little critique that has been given about Erica's performance. I said Erica's performance was not bad. It was the weakest. Yeah, she didn't have much to do and everything, but let's put that aside. Amongst every other person there, for me, her performance was the weakest. I don't think she's a bad actress. I know she's been acting for a really long time. And I think that at the end of the day, her experience will show its fruits. There's nothing wrong with that. But nobody is unduly attacking Erica. The very first comment Mr. C made about Erica, he first of all mentioned that he thought it was the weakest, but he also gave her credit that she's an experienced actor. So I don't know. I feel like I just need to establish that here because I've had so many comments. I've heard so many comments coming in, talking about how people are barraging Erica's performance and everything. Nobody is taking away credit from her. Nobody's saying that she's a bad person or she's a bad actress. This is all relative, and at the end of the day, we're all giving our opinions.
Okay. Mr. C?
Can people hear me? I don't know.
That's what you like you do.
Can people hear me? I can't tell because my spaces is
We
frozen.
can hear you.
Okay, all right. My spaces is frozen. Yeah, I think the space became a little too elite. All right, okay, but thanks, Onyinye. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but like I get it. Like their stands are gonna stand. So I'm actually kind of impressed by how the ones that came on to speak. I think you notice the difference between the people who come on to speak versus the people who just tweet. There's a very different vibe. But I appreciate the people who came on to speak. I know it feels like we're shitting in your person, but I promise you, she doesn't even have she doesn't have much. She wasn't a majority of this conversation at all. But I guess you guys made it. You guys made it on here. I'm just glad she wasn't in Glamour Girls because that would have been. But probably you wouldn't have defended Glamour Girls as much. To be honest. Who knows? All right, but thanks, guys. Let's just. Let's move on to the summary.
Can I?
After you say what?
I will. Can I just be allowed? I just want to respond to something.
Sure. Don't start Eric. Please don't open the Erica thing. Like it's. You know what? There's no more of them on stage. Go ahead.
I'm not responding to that. Absolutely nothing to what.
I'm just saying, if you respond to it, just they do they might brigade you. By the way, so
this is my first time. I didn't even know. I didn't even know she was. I didn't know what she was. I didn't know nothing. So I don't know nothing. I neither have a previous something or thought about this. So I am like a neutral island. I don't know. I didn't even know what an elite was until now. But thank you for that information. I now know something about a pop culture that I didn't know. I was going to come for you, Mr. C. Now,
go ahead.
Mr. C, not with the elite. What I'm saying is, you said, I think you misunderstand me when I was talking about the fact. So I'm not necessarily talking about like how, Nigerian movies sometimes have like unnecessary scenes that don't even contribute to the plot in any way. I am talking about the structure, and I think the structure was the issue, even with the thing that caused the storm. I think structure was the issue. There were, for instance, they could cancel out the Ronke's character, right? They could have completely canceled that out. And some of the moments that it gave to her, they could have used it to do more of like, show rather than tell. There were ways to put the steps of the plot, right? There were things that they could have done that could have made the plot much, much tighter, much, much better, more concise. Even though if it feels like it was moving along, it didn't, like I said, it didn't meet an emotional something. The pacing was too fast. And I think Cynthia, when she was talking about the boss lady and saying all the like having the camera land and let the actors, not even for the actors too, it's not even only for the actresses to land and show the emotions that you want to tell us about. Like you want to those little tiny things create the atmosphere, especially because this is a visual medium. You need to be able to create atmosphere. And the movie does not have that. The movie does not necessarily really create I mean, it does with the aesthetics, with like, okay, the smoke machine, the lighting, all that. But there's also extra things with the acting, with the movements of the people. The movie does not do that. That is also a fact. That is also something that it should have, not a fact, like it should have added to also put, to move the plot along forward. This is not a plot you read. This is the plot you see. So those things also move plot along forward, right? And I think that's the issue. I think sometimes maybe the thing is just how the director direct people, how the scene is edited down in post-production. They probably cut the scenes of the acting that the people did, and the final product kind of, it was jarring and confusing. So that's what I mean by fat. I don't necessarily mean that, okay, it's just padded for no padding. And I think maybe I misused the wrong word. What I mean is to have it to be more concise, more better, more that fits the plot line, that could also get an emotional resonance from people. I just don't want to intellectually understand. I also want to be emotionally connected with the characters. And in many ways, I wasn't, because one, her pacing, it didn't let me breathe, and some of the more emotional bits of it, it didn't work out well. Like they were giving too much time to Rufus, and Rufus is an okay supporting character, but they gave way too much screen time to him for him not to even matter in the end. And also the Ufema Madomet's character too. There's an issue with the way, like, they wanted to give her a motivation about her sister, but like there was a jump cut in that, and I don't understand why the motivation. There was even the SWAT. There was like a lot of things that just didn't land, and so just what I think better meant is like the way it was arranged was not concise enough, and they chose options that didn't strongly match the plot that they wanted to give. Maybe they had option A and option B, and they chose option B, but option A was probably better for them to have chosen. And
all right, you guys come. We two bites at the cherry.
Now let me do my summary. Should you watch this movie? Yeah, no problem. It's okay. I mean, if you want to watch a ritual movie, I'll say go watch. If you don't want to completely, like, go watch an older movie. If that is specifically about ritual movies, that is like that, just watch an older movie. That one is much probably you will get more emotional resonance from that. But this movie is also not bad to watch. That's my summary.
All right, thanks. All right, Anya, do you give us your summary for what you thought of the Blood Covenant?
Was that me you called just now?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so my summary of the plot, I think the on the plus side, in making this movie, they had a clear direction of where they were going and what they wanted to do. They had a message in mind, and while it started out, they did a very good job of convincing us about why we need to be rooting for these characters, or at least we need to empathize with their plight. The downfall of this movie was in its execution, its inability to, focus on the details that really mattered in making sure that all the parts came together cohesively. And I think if that was changed, then a lot of the plots would have been a little bit more impactful in selling the message that I think the filmmakers wanted to get across to us.
All right, thank you. Cynthia, general thoughts about the Blood Covenant?
Yeah, so General Thoughts is a good movie to watch. Yeah, but I also think that the approach was not all that good, especially with how I felt the characters were over prioritized, the male characters, and the female characters were just in the background. I also felt the pacing was too fast, and we couldn't we didn't even have the opportunity to connect with the characters. But yeah, it's still a good movie you can watch. I mean, I watched it twice, so it's a movie you can watch.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Mel, if you give us your thoughts, your summary. Mel, are you there? All right, Vanessa.
I need to ask Vanessa.
All right, Vanessa is not. Vanessa can't hear me. Okay. Elizabeth, do you want to? Okay, I don't know.
Oh
Do you want
wait,
me
is
to
that
say
me
something?
now?
Yes. Yeah. Go.
Someone tell her yes.
I'm so confused. Is this my turn to say my summary now?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I'm just gonna go. So, first watch, it wasn't a lot that I particularly cared about. On the second watch, I liked quite a lot of things about it. Tobi Bakare gives an amazing performance. If on that For that reason alone, I think you should watch it. I liked the premise of it, and I feel like it's a good enough premise to watch a film for. There were pacing issues, which led to the movie feeling rushed. What else was wrong? Um, but yeah, I mean, I recommend for it to be watched? Yes, why not? I feel like it's a really good film, and for people who don't watch Nollywood, they would actually really enjoy this. Were there things that could have been done better? Yes, I liked the scoring of it, but I didn't like the use of music for the soundtrack. But that's just a personal thing. It's pretty negligible. Um, but all in all, it's an okay film. It's an okay film. And I mean, I watched it twice, and I guess I can watch it a third time. So I guess I don't know. Maybe there's rewatchability for whatever reason. But yeah, it's all in all, it's an okay film.
Okay, thanks, Vanessa. I don't know if you guys can hear me better now. If Mel, can you hear me? If Mel, if you can hear me, I call upon you to give you a summary. If not, Elizabeth, if you can hear me, I call upon you.
Okay. So I've just said that, refer to everything that Onyinye said. That's what I'm also saying. So, but if you want to watch it, I think it's a good enough movie to watch in the sense that, I mean, picture movies are in fad now, and you won't feel like you've wasted your time. So that's it for me. I was not satisfied, but that's it for me. Maybe I'll watch the second time or not. Like,
If you give it a second watch, let us know if anything changes. Cynthia, you're up.
You've asked
I'm
Cynthia.
so
We've asked
sorry.
Cynthia.
Yes.
Have I been
Yes.
blanking? Oh, sorry, it's me. Apologies, guys. Yeah, so in summary, I think between yesterday and today, so I watched it for the first time yesterday, and between yesterday and today, I think I've already recommended it to 2 people. So yeah, I would recommend it. And as we can be seen, it does have some rewatchability value. I liked the premise. I liked a good portion of the execution. I thought the leads were strong, and yeah, I'd watch it. It had its flaws, but we've hashed them out for the last hour or so. I enjoyed it.
Okay, just want to remind people before I do my summary, you can review this. It's in the pinned tweet. If you really think this was good, if you thought Erica was amazing, if you thought any of the other characters or actors did really well, nollydata.com/movies/the Blood Covenant. And you can and you can register as an audience and review it. What I thought. So in summary, I thought this was actually enjoyed this a lot the second time. If you asked first time watcher Mr. C, you would have gotten something closer to what some people have said on here. But like it was just a lot of fun to watch on the second time. But there are pacing issues, I think, with it, and I think a lot of the things some people have said with like sort of feeling a little bit more for the characters might have come from slowing things down and allowing people to absorb the emotions. But yeah, I think all in all, it's definitely worth your time if you don't mind a ritual type film. So yeah, I recommend this. So we do this every Sundays, at 6 o'clock. Next week we are doing My Village People, but tomorrow actually, this is a special one for Nollywood Film Club members. I don't know if you guys remember something special. I'm going to be hosting a discussion between Mildred and Precious and Tosin, who wrote and directed. Something special. So they're going to be having. It's going to be hard questions from Mildred. Those of you know Mildred, she's going to deliver tough questions to them. I think it's going to be an interesting conversation between a very experienced director and someone who's up and coming, or a couple of people who are up and coming, and see where like filming can be improved, or where things were really done well. Like, we're going to see Mildred talk about it with her very experienced eye. So that's going to be a fun conversation tomorrow evening. I'll put the link up in a bit. But in the meantime, this is where we are every Sunday, 6 o'clock. Welcome to join us if you're a new person here. And review on Nolly Data. Have I said that? We have a YouTube channel. Go on, check it out. Some people like it.
Some really old reviews.
If you want to go troll us on there, feel free. Views are good. But whatever. That's not the point. But like, thanks for coming. Thanks for sharing. The people who come in the spaces. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. We appreciate everybody who does this. This is good. Good space. Thanks, guys. I will see you next week. Oh, we'll see you tomorrow. Then next week for Nollywood. Tomorrow is different. It's not Nollywood Film Club.
You don't get to speak.
But yeah, tomorrow we'll have a discussion. Thanks, guys, a lot for coming on.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to the episode. If you enjoyed listening and would like to join live, just follow us on Twitter at Iroko Critic. And join us every Sunday, 6 p.m. West African time on our spaces.